Hello and welcome to my garden in June. The weather has been a mixed bag. We have had wind, rain, and in the middle of June when I was planting out my tomatoes, I was wearing a jacket, but only a week later we had heat waves. Some of it has affected the plants and you shall see it as we go through the garden. My garden is northeast facing and I grow vegetables, fruit and ornamental plants as well. I have clay soil, but I also have raised beds, which is helpful when I have those plants that need good drainage. I'm going to start with the full sun area, which is my vegetable garden, as it has had the most change. I harvested my garlic, the onions and the radishes that were in this first raised bed, and now I have planted tomatoes. I think I'm a bit behind on my tomatoes, definitely behind compared to last year, for example. Part of the reason is some of my seedlings did not do very well and I had to repot them. Others just did not recover, others did recover, but ultimately I decided to just plant out the cherry tomatoes. I did not think I had enough time to go through the beefsteaks or other tomatoes. So we shall see how that goes. But at the moment, I've got tomatoes in here. I do have a wild card in the form of tombola seedling that I planted. I had two, but my resident slugs and snails decided to eat one. So I've got one tomato. I'm not sure what that one is. It might turn out to be a beefsteak. Who knows? We shall see shortly. Well, I say shortly, but in a few months. I have somewhat accepted that I am just a warden when it comes to this garden, and that part of my role is to provide a varied diet to the slug and snail population. In this first raised bed, for example, I planted 10 marigold seedlings. I also planted some kale in this raised bed, but yeah, you probably won't see any of those. Well, you'll see 3.5 marigolds that are remaining. The rest, the slugs and snails have been sampling, and I think they've been enjoying them, bearing in mind that they keep coming back. I do have a couple of marigolds that I've stored separately, elevated. Once they are a bit bigger and stronger, I can hopefully put them in the ground and they should be fine. Interestingly enough, the nasturtium I planted quite a few. I didn't do very well with my seeds this year, I tell you. But anyway, I planted quite a few nasturtiums more than once, but I only ended up with the one, and that's doing well. The slugs and the snails don't seem to be eating that. In my second raised bed, I planted some sweet corn on the last day of May, and it looked rough when I put it in the ground. It looked really weak. As I said, my seeds this year were not the best, and with sweet corn in particular, I don't have the best of luck all the time. I have enough seeds most of the time to plant out something, but it's not guaranteed. Some good news though, I have been harvesting a lot of blueberries from all four of the plants, and I've enjoyed watching the bees and the dragonflies and the butterflies. They're all coming out in full force and seem to be really enjoying the garden as well. My ox eye daisies are finally blooming. The only thing is I had to pull out one of the plants because it was absolutely infested. Moving over to the salad garden, which is between the veggie garden and the full shade garden, I have 4 kales in here. I planted them at the same time as the 2 that I planted in the raised bed. Because these are elevated, they're doing much better than the ones in the ground raised bed. You can also now see my mixed lettuce because it's mixed. I've got 3 different types in there, and the leaves, they're all different. Very pretty when they're on a plate. I would say they all taste the same. I did do a taste test and they did taste the same. My full shade garden has been thriving. Even through the heat wave, it's been absolutely thriving. I have got ferns, I've got heucheras, and I also have skimmia. One of the skimmias, which is the oldest that I've had in the garden, it has been struggling. It's struggled for years because previously it was affected by spider mites. It was my fault really. I left it in a very sunny position, so I think that made it a bit weaker. I moved my hostas to this shady area because when we had the heat wave, the leaves were getting scorched. So now they're in this full shade area and they seem to be liking it. They are actually also bringing up their flower stalks, so soon I should have blooms. Now to the part shade area, which has been getting sun up to about 2-3 p.m. during the day. I think it's doing quite well. It's holding on quite well. The alyssum didn't fare very well, but then this is common for alyssum. When it gets really hot, they do dry out a bit, but they do bounce back when the weather cools. We have a flower on the hydrangea. The leaves remain stunning. I cannot wait to see what else it produces this season. The leaves on my azalea are also looking much better. In the last garden tour, I showed that the leaves had some black spots on them, but you can see that they have more or less cleared. I think definitely they do better in part shade. My Thalictrum delavai are stunning. They are about to bloom. I know I said the exact same thing about 4 weeks ago. They have gained so much height. I think they are meant to grow to about a meter, 1.5 meters. I like the layered effect and the openness between the leaves. My dahlias are also out, and you can see from the buds that they should be flowering soon. Speaking of flowering, my fuchsia, especially the second one nearest the rose, which gets more sun, that has already started flowering as well. And with fuchsias, they flower all the way till the frost, so they are going to provide me with the late summer flowers. Speaking of flowers, the rose is still doing very well. I pruned it a little bit. I looked at some of the leaves and they had a hint of black spot on them. So I did cut them out and I cut off some of the lower stems so that I could create a bit of airflow. You can see that there is some fresh growth coming up. There are also some buds. So with this particular rose, it does have a second flush of blooms, just not as many. The plan is to water consistently and to fertilize it as well. Those are the main highlights in my garden for June. How are your gardens doing? So that's the garden for June. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.